Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11YourEyes. Going to take a look at some pitching and the overall matchups for today, the 15th of October. It is Wednesday. We do have Game 3 of the ALCS. And then we will jump over and kind of look at Game 3 of the NLCS, which is tomorrow. Kind of taking a look at the split 2-day slate offerings. But we'll just kind of look at DraftKings, as that is where a majority of my action is. Pretty much all plays are going to be the same over on FanDuel. At this point in the postseason, there isn't much to differentiate between the two sites. Pitching, obviously, always a wonder with short leashes, etc. We have two teams today, or team today and the team tomorrow, that are down 2-0 in the series. So pitching, backs against the wall, leashes get a little shorter. On the other side, though, teams up 2-0. Leashes might be slightly longer. Don't really want to drain the bullpen, but they obviously are trying to close out series sooner rather than later. So it's a juggling act. But let's just jump in and start with tonight's game. Toronto, Seattle. In Seattle, Bieber versus Kirby. Seattle up 2-0 and has looked far superior to Toronto. Toronto was hot against the Yankees, and they come out and look the opposite of that right now. George Kirby for Seattle. 2 postseason starts against Detroit. 2 really strong performances. 14 strikeouts in 10 innings. Obviously, strikeout upside probably not the same in this matchup, but he's still in play. He's been far better when at home, and which is where he's at this evening, which obviously is a boost to him as well. Pretty traditional in the splits department, so has been pretty good against right-handed bats. A little less effective against left-handed bats. The Blue Jays definitely need some of their left-handed bats like Barger to step up. Lucas has been all right. Varsho could, started out hot in the postseason. They could definitely use him to help out. And the one bat, Santander, if he's back in the lineup after being scratched, really needs to step up. He's had some success against Kirby in his career, but it's been a really bad season for Santander. So, on the other side, Shane Bieber. Very reverse splits this season, which is probably a decent thing against Seattle. Obviously, Cal Raleigh, and then Polanco's been doing a ton of damage all postseason. Naylor, J.P. Crawford, I guess, Canzone. Even though J.P. Crawford, I think, is like 6 for 12 in his career against Bieber. It's really the left-handed bat, or the right-handed bats, that Bieber should be worried about. Did a little look at some pitch profiling, and Eugenio Suarez seems to be in a decent spot. Obviously, a lot of K upside, for Bieber against a guy like Suarez, but there's a ton of power, and Suarez is one of those sneaky guys that I think can fit into a winning build, especially at the captain spot. Should be lower owned in that captain spot. I think Suarez might be that ticket, but Bieber, splits-wise, postseason-wise, he was rough against the Yankees. Started out all right, and then just gave up a bunch of hits. I think the defense kind of let him down, too. If I remember correctly, a couple of those hits were balls that you generally might think should be caught. On the season, he's been fine. He's just not a big K guy. He does get a K increase in the matchup, but he's been better when at home. Now, this is a ballpark that is built around, pitching. Pretty decent pitcher's park. He just made some mistakes when on the road because his average against and his whip are much better. It's just not a great spot for Bieber considering back against the wall for Toronto. Very short leash for sure. Scherzer going to start game 4, from my understanding. Bassett just threw an inning and 2/3 2 days ago. I don't really think he's going to be in play as a reliever, at least in this one. Eric Lauer, an inning just 2 days ago as well. Probably more so in play tomorrow, following Scherzer is my guess. So we don't really have to think much about starting pitcher as a long man, unless Bieber does really struggle. Maybe they do turn to Bassett and hope for some length out of the pen. But this series, or these two teams, I feel better about relief pitchers than I do in the LA-Milwaukee series. Toronto has a couple guys that obviously have plenty of upside, but they've been used a lot too. Hoffman, their closer, a little more volatile. Definitely has a ton of K upside. Previous All-Star, just a big-time arm. Fluharty struggled 2 days ago, but another lefty out of the pen. Their best lefty is Brendan Little. Can certainly show up and strike out the side. His K numbers have kind of disappeared over the last month, to be honest. We have 10 appearances on the screen right now. Has a strikeout in just 3 of the 10 of his last 10. With that said, though, you almost feel like he's got to see the mound. He's been one of their more reliable relief pitchers. Anthony Dominguez is a guy that's been in these spots before, with Philadelphia, etc. I would think that he might get some looks here. He can pick up strikeouts. He pitched twice against Seattle during the season. 3 of the 4 outs came via the strikeout. So there's some strikeout upside. Louis Varland is a guy that they're definitely going to use a bunch. They've shown it already. He's pitched in both games of the series so far. 4 strikeouts through 2 innings. Did give up a solo home run, but still put up 5.6 DK points. If he does this again and doesn't give up a home run, higher performance. Louis Varland's probably the one guy that I think, by the looks of it, is just guaranteed to see the mound. Yara Rodriguez just struggled, couldn't throw strikes. Just not somebody I want to rely on. He's certainly possible that he can get something done, but for me, it's Varland, maybe a little bit Dominguez, and Little probably. Braden Fisher, not bad, but strikeouts were there, but did struggle with some runs 2 days ago. Definitely has 2 inning and 4 strikeout upside. He did it here. So it is certainly possible. I just don't feel as good about him. But, being a 2 inning guy definitely makes him valuable for us. Paxton Schultz must not be on the roster. So that's with Toronto. Seattle, great bullpen. Bullpen arms that I would definitely trust. Kirby's going to have a decently long leash. Matt Brash, if you think they're winning, very dominant arm. Looked pretty good in the 1 inning. He did pitch just 8 pitches 2 days ago. I would say he is the most reliable regular reliever, and then Munoz is their closer. Certainly plenty of upside. Gets a little wild. There's K upside there. I just like Brash and his ability to pick up strikeouts. Those are the 2 guys that I prefer. Bizzardo been used plenty. He did get the win 2 days ago, so his point totals are jacked up. He has strong multi-inning upside, so I guess Bizzardo's got to be in play because of that. I'm just not sure he's got somebody that I trust enough. Gabe Spire, going to face some lefties, can strike out multiple dudes in an inning. He has that in him, has done it a bunch. 4 over his last 8 appearances, or multi-strikeout appearances. So he's certainly in play as a reliever. Bats-wise, it's tough. Toronto, you just need your studs to step up. Vladdy's got to get back to being hot. I think it's got to be Varsho, and I think Barger's got to really show up hitting in the cleanup spot. Seattle, same guys, but I think it's J-Rod and Arozarena in this matchup. Cal Raleigh's always dangerous, Polanco. And then my sneaky guy is Eugenio Suarez. Switching over to the two-gamer, looking at Milwaukee and LA, since we just talked about Toronto, Seattle. Glasnow pitching at home, where he's been far better. It is volatile because he's a volatile guy. Was dominant against Phillies in his one start. Pretty solid in his relief appearance against them as well. 2 appearances against Milwaukee. Not many hits allowed. Plenty of strikeouts. Dominant at home. K rate jumps up. Walk rate plummets. Home runs allowed rate jumps, though. But still, just a great spot. Gotta love Glasnow and the way the Dodgers pitchers have looked against the Brewers and their struggling offense. From a relief pitcher standpoint, I don't really think we want to look at, anybody really for the Dodgers. Because we do expect, Glasnow to go 5 or 6 innings. Kasparis was added to the roster, so he does give some length out of the bullpen if one of the guys were to struggle, etc. I suppose Kasparis could be a guy that could see it early, but I'm not predicting that in this spot. Milwaukee, now this is the tougher spot. What are we going to do? Really, Milwaukee has 2 routes in this game. They can go back to opening with Ashby, even though he has pitched in the first 2 games of the series. Does get a day off. Maybe could be pitching again. He's been used plenty in the postseason. Could open with him and kind of fall into that same Mizorowski long man. It is a normal, rest appearance for him would be on Thursday. So that to me makes the most sense. Obviously, the issue becomes he's probably a 60 pitch cap guy the way that they're using him right now. He would definitely be in play because there's plenty of upside, but there's a lot of volatility because of his control issues, etc. The Dodgers could have some bigger innings. If they don't go that route, I would assume they start Quintana then. I don't see the need to open with Ashby and then follow him with Quintana, both being left-handed, etc. I would think they would just start Quintana normally, but obviously could be wrong in that regard. He last pitch on the 8th, so it'll be 7 days of rest, roughly. I think McGill opened that one, if I remember correctly, on the 8th. No? Or did he just follow a struggling pitcher? Now I have to go back and look, but he didn't follow Ashby, which makes a lot of sense, left on left. I don't think they're going to start Quintana, but they could. He would start regularly, like I mentioned, or Mizorowski would probably follow Ashby. Be interesting to see what kind of announcement we get. We might not get it until tomorrow at some point, but I am going to build for this 2-gamer thinking that Mizorowski is going to be the long man and they're going to open with somebody like Ashby. They don't really have, I guess they could open with Koenig, but he's been a little bit more volatile than you like. He looked decent against the Dodgers, though, 2 days ago, so maybe they could go that route. Open with the lefty and go to Mizorowski after that. But there we have it. There's our first look at the pitching options for the 2 days. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc. I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And I will drop the link to our merch store. You can check out my hoodie, some of the other designs as well. That link, again, will be in the description below. And as always, best of luck, everybody.